Hi everyone, it's me, Tim. Today I want to talk about the blame problem. I have a video called the credit problem, and this video is the opposite. Let's call it a companion video. So, in the credit problem, which I'm linked below, and I really recommend you watch it, but I'm going to have to summarize some things to put things into context for this video. I establish how hard it is to give credit for a feature or anything you're trying to do credit for. It's not easy at all. And the problem is, when people ask me, hey Tim, who did feature X? It means different things to different people. Some people are talking about the idea, and other people are talking about the implementation, and other people are talking about what it took to actually make that feature shippable, optimizing it or bug fixing it. If you get rid of anything along those steps, you don't get that feature. And the credit video, I specifically talk about Fallout companions, because when people say, hey Tim, I really like the companions in Fallout, who did those? Well, do you want me to talk about the person whose idea it was? But we decided not to go with it because we knew it was too much work in the time frame we had? Or do you want to talk about the two people who thought it could be done and just a few months before we shipped got it working sort of with scripts and baling wire and hope? Do we then want to talk about the people who actually took that implementation, which was caused, as far as I remember, it caused at least one crash, and it also caused issues where like the companions would disappear when you cross maps or they'd lose their inventory. Do you want to talk about the people who actually got it working? Because I don't know what you mean when you're like, hey Tim, who got companions in Fallout? Because it's all of those people. It's not one of them. And that's the problem with doing blame. Because I know many of you think the companions in Fallout are either annoying, like Ian shooting you in the back, or hard to use because there's no good way to control them or even give them inventory. And how do you assign blame for that? I mean, it wasn't supposed to be a feature in the game. Do you blame the people who tried to jam it in a few months before we shipped? Do you blame the people who didn't get the AI working? The person who didn't get the UIs in to give them control, to give you control over them or to let you manage their inventory? Trust me, there's a lot of credit and blame to go around. And that's what I want to talk about today is I don't think that you can assign individual blame to any one person for an entire game, or even I've seen a game company. And do not misunderstand me, because I have told you on this channel that there are people that I absolutely hated working with, and people that I said I would never work with again. And I even mentioned some of them don't know that. I just never worked with them again. Some of the people I hate, they know I hate them. But let me tell you something. I don't want them to occupy a lot of space in here. So sometimes when I talk about things, it's because it was in my notes. And I look at it, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. But I don't walk around going, Urgh. There are people that were so awful to work with that I've never even named them on this channel. They're just pitiful excuses for human beings, but I've never mentioned them on this channel because I want them away. Even those people, I don't think the games they worked on were made worse because of them. In fact, for one of them, he made the game better. I cannot deny it. His work was good. I just never want to work with him again. Some of those people still make games, and at least one doesn't, and I can guess a really good reason why, but I don't care. I don't want to work with them again. I don't want to think about them again, and it's done. But even then, I wouldn't ever assign them blame like I see what's going on online, where I see articles and hours-long videos where they're saying, this one person is to blame for this game being bad. I've even seen them say this one person is responsible for making an entire game company bad. And let me just tell you, no. Nothing is that simple. If you've heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect, then one thing that should give you pause is whenever you think there should be a simple explanation for something, it's probably not the explanation that's simple, it's you. Because very few complex problems, whether it's economics or game development have a simple solution. If you think the president sets the price of gas or even the price of eggs, you're wrong. And not because economics is not that simple, and you just can't order a price to exist. Markets are complex. Trust me, I'm a bad businessman. Complex markets are what did me in. So when I tell you that nothing is that simple, you should also remember that I have a whole video on ideas of mine that were rejected and either nothing went in or got replaced, even when I was the director on the project. As far back as Fallout and as recently as The Outer Worlds, I had my own ideas rejected. I was told for good reason. I have a whole video on that. So if a game director can't get everything in that they want, I don't think even a game director can take a great game and make it horrible. Because there's a whole lot of hands that work on this thing that handle all the different parts of art and design and code and production and audio and QA and localization and everything. And all those things have to be done well to get a great game. And I don't think any one person is capable of tearing down that entire production line. Now, I realize simple explanations for things are attractive. You want there to be a simple explanation, but there just isn't. And I made that credits video a long time ago, and I realized I never really talked about the opposite, which is blame. If you're trying to figure out why some feature in a game isn't working, it's probably not one person, because everyone has a boss who probably went, hey, I need that fixed. Or a lot of people have people under them that go, I know what you said, but we did it this way because that way crashed, or that way doesn't work, or there's no time to make a UI to do it that way, so we're doing it this way. And that makes way more sense to me than one person single-handedly destroyed a project. Because if that can happen, I've never seen it happen. And I hear lots of videos from people who've never made a game before, who are telling you one person is responsible for a game being bad or an entire company being terrible. Here's a simpler explanation. The next time someone tells you Game X is bad because of one person, they're trying to make money. They're either trying to sell you something or they're trying to get clicks so they make money. Because nothing is that simple. But that explanation is. So remember, blame is hard to assign, just like credit. People who are trying to do that, I think, have other motives for trying to get you to believe that. And if you're watching them or reading their site, you're helping that. You're not helping the game industry get better. You're basically helping people focus on something that isn't the problem. And that's just going to ultimately make things worse. That's why a lot of times when I talk about development here and I'm talking to game players and not game developers, I try to tell you what you can do to try to make the game industry better. And there's so much negativity, and I get it. People are angry, but that won't necessarily make the game better. Being constructive will. You don't necessarily have to be positive, but you have to be constructive. So anyway, that's what I wanted to say, that blame assignment is just as hard as credit assignment. And I hope you understand now.